Okay, we're back with part two once again. Talk about this year in review, how I feel like all the big companies I guess deal with did this year. So let's see. Our next company we're going to talk about is Fanimation. Oh, now this is a good one. I'm very happy to talk about this one here because Fanimation really did a good job this year. Not only were their new products pretty cool, but the new catalog layout was much needed and it looks absolutely amazing. Overall, it was a really good year for Fanimation. I feel they had many cool designs. Well, first of all, they made the Spitfire DC, and they offer really giant ones now, and those look really cool in person. I have seen one of them. As for how much air they move, I don't know. There wasn't really enough space to power the fan in the showroom, but it looked really good. And then, of course, they introduced a few new designs like the Clinch. I believe the Amped was another one. And then they did have a couple others. I really like the Amped, even though it was an AC fan. I absolutely love the way it looks. I love the mixed finish combinations that they did on a couple of them. So yeah, overall, I think Fanimation did really, really good this year. I'm very happy. And of course, they really needed a full line catalog and the redesign. I mean, they had that same design for quite a while. So, or I should say catalog layout for quite a while. And every once in a while, I do like seeing some changes. So I'm glad that that did happen. Let's see. Up next, we have, home enhancements. Well, home enhancements did actually introduce a few new ceiling fans this year. Probably some of my favorite designs they've put out yet, but still nothing particular that I'm extremely excited about. First of all, they introduce a fan called the Malibu, which is basically a Monte Carlo Maverick LED copy. They also introduced, I believe, the Verona, which was a pretty similar to design to some of the other stuff I've seen. I'd say the coolest fan was the Barcelona, which was a rather large. I think they might have had like a 72 and like an 100, or so they had a couple larger ones available, and I thought they looked kind of cool. The black and brass combo was really unique, and then I believe they also had like a silver and black. But anyways, yeah, those were some pretty interesting looking fans. As for how they are in real life, I cannot say, but they look kind of cool, so that's something, I guess. Up next, we have Hunter. Well, basically every year it's going to be my same thing. Quality still sucks. And this year they did a supplement catalog, which they advertised as a full catalog. So that kind of confused me. I thought they axed like most of their line. Luckily they didn't. It was just a supplement. But it did have me nervous when the original wasn't in there. Plus, they put the Casablanca name on the side of it, and there was no Casablanca in the book at all. They might as well have just left it off. I don't know why they haven't gotten rid of that name yet. They should just put it out of its misery. Don't get me wrong, I love Casablanca, but the stuff they make now just absolutely sucks. Like the last decent fan was the Duluth, and some of the stuff they introduced in 2016. Those were some of the last half-decent products. And in terms of the Hunter designs, there's nothing too special. I noticed that a lot of the fans share very similar forms and shapes now. There's just small changes. Not really my favorite. And then obviously they're constantly putting new stuff on the website that's like weird exclusives and other new products. It's just so weird. I don't know. The truth is they're not necessarily they've never really been my favorite. There's just so much going on with them, and honestly quality's not that good. So Hunter, improve yourself, please. And of course, we also have to talk about the fact that they got purchased by Griffin Corporation, which is some investing stupid company or something like that, which does have quite a few people upset and worried and confused and many other things. So anyways, next company is Kendall Lighting. Now, Kendall is a more of a Canadian brand, but they do still have some stuff going on here in the US. Now, I'm not too sure how good they're doing. Okay, once again, I don't work for them. I can't say whether any of this is true, but I'm kind of concerned they're having problems for a few reasons. First of all they've done the last 2 years is these really thin little not even supplement things that they just aren't the nicest. Not to mention that a lot of showrooms and places seem to be signing off and dropping them. Like my old contact for getting the catalogs dropped them. The only local store that carried them dropped them. Well, I think maybe one store still does, but I don't know. I honestly don't think they do. They haven't sold anything from them in a while. The point I'm trying to make is that they don't seem to be getting sold that much around here. And a lot of the places that online said they sold Kendall don't actually. So yeah, I don't know what the plan is. Maybe they're eventually just going to move out of the US and not offer anything here anymore. I don't know what their plan is, but Yeah, in the introductions, there hasn't been anything that's really interesting or special. The Alestra was the only half interesting fan that they've offered over the last few years. Anyways, up next is the Kichler company. Kichler is actually one of those brands where recently I haven't been too happy, but this year they've taken, in my opinion, a step in the right direction. They were in desperate need of a catalog. Well, first of all, 2020 was a really meh year for them, and this was before the pandemic was in full swing, so there's not even an excuse for that. It just wasn't really the greatest catalog. The cover, me and my showroom friends were all complaining about it, like it just didn't look good. It just was not my style, or our style, I should say. Then came 2021, where they had these piece of crap little supplements that were in a new format, which sucked. They say, oh yeah, we're experimenting with something new. And, yeah, because I know this because I called them and asked, because I was worried this was going to be their new permanent style. And luckily it turned out not to be the case. I told them, I don't know how this feels. I don't know how much I like this. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of wasted paper here, and it just overall was not that good. They were just spec sheets thrown together in a catalog. If you go onto their websites, the spec sheet is exactly like how those supplements were. It was horrible. But anyways, this year though, they introduced a bunch of really great new designs. Every single one of them I liked, especially a lot of that Art Deco design that they had in quite a few of them, some of the other industrial type designs. I really liked that. The catalog was also great. You know, everything inside it was great. And yeah, overall though, I feel like this was a really good year. This was definitely something that Kichler needed. And a lot of their designers either left or quit. So I'm glad that they were able to pull together and do something. So that's why it took quite a while for that's why the Elon catalog came out so early in the year, because some of the Elon designers were apparently the only ones they had left. And a lot of the other ones had left, so they had to find new ones or something. I don't know. That's just what I heard. That's just a rumor. You know, a lot of this stuff is probably going to be talking about rumors, you know. But anyways, yeah, up next is, well, I have to look right behind me. This is uncomfortable. Matthews. Matthews only introduced one new product this year, the Non. Kind of a cool looking fan. It was another one designed by Chicago architect Stephen Katz, as they like to say. Yeah, basically, it's another one of those cylindrical fans with wood formed blades. Of course, this one's a little bit different than the last. Also, they make a really big one that's like 80 or 96 inches or something like that. So it's kind of cool that they offer a really large one now. It's probably the largest fan they offer. And large spaces are becoming more and more popular, so it's good that they introduced something like that. No catalog this year. I was hoping that they would. I just was talking to my contact there, or emailing back and forth with them about a day or two ago, and they still do not have the catalogs printed. I don't know when they will. But anyways, up next we have Maxim. Maxim introduced one new fan product this year, and that was the Tollum Fandelier. It's basically just a basket weave wicker type thing. It looks cool, but it's probably expensive and not worth buying. When you're a fan company, or when you're a lighting company that is also selling a few fans on the side, they're usually a bit more expensive because you're mainly making lighting. So now you've got to outsource to find someone to make the motors for you, and that can usually drive the price up just a little bit, especially since they can't go to the same factories. A lot of the lighting industry right now is actually moving to India, but ceiling fans, they're keeping more in like China and Taiwan because they know how to make the fans to our specs. India makes fans, okay? I'm not going to say they don't, because they do. You know, they got Crompton and all the other companies out there, Havels and tons of other stuff. But that's different. You see, those fans are made differently. So that's part of the reason why. Anyways, up next, we have, I just want to make sure I'm not skipping anyone. Nope, we've got Minka. Minka did a really good job this year. They introduced a bunch of new Erdeliers, and I really like the way that they looked, especially the Maryland. That was a really cool looking fixture. And some of the other more basic ones that they introduced as well. Well, I say basic fans. They weren't basic, but they weren't Fandeliers that I also thought looked pretty cool. One of them, I believe, was the Twist. I thought that one looked kind of cool. And me and my rep both agree that that might end up becoming a new bestseller. So we'll see how that ends up going. They think it's got the potential to be like the Artemis. Nothing is going to ever surpass the Artemis, though. That's just such a neat fan, especially now that I got one this year. I know those fans a bit better now, and I really do like those quite a bit. Anyways, up next, okay, we're gonna skip Modern Fan Company because I didn't do anything this year. I should really email them and see if they are. But the next brand is Modern Forms. Modern Forms also did really good this year. And yeah, they introduced quite a few new products. The Torque was a really cool one. It was kind of like a Monte Carlo Maverick copy, and I don't remember if I've ever mentioned it on a video that's uploaded yet. But yeah, basically, after I've seen one Maverick, I've seen enough of them. I usually don't give a crap, but the Modern Forms one turned out really good. And also the Corona model, which is a flush mount fan, I feel like that one just looks really, really good. Also, they introduced the Windmill, WYND, obviously because the other windmill is a Quorum thing with an I. But yeah, this windmill here is really cool, and obviously with the Y, you can already guess it's probably modeled after the other wind fans, and you would be correct. It is modeled after those, and I feel like it turned out really, really good. And there are, of course, some other new products too. Some of them that were introduced sort of middle of the year last year as well. But yeah, overall, they did a really good job. I really like what they put out this year, and I'm excited to see next year. And of course, I should also mention all these new pathogen-killing UV smart fans or whatever the heck they've got are also really cool. And then, of course, WAC introduced a few new products this year as well. Of course, they're part of, they own Modern Forms. And yeah, overall, they once again did pretty decent. I'll talk a little bit more about them later if I remember to. Anyways, up next is, actually, we're going to save that for the next video. And there's another sort of bit of an explanation I also either I'm going to throw into the very end of this whole series, or I'll just throw it in somewhere else. I don't know. So anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys in part 3. Goodbye.